Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints have the day off on Monday, but the Saints were busy on the roster front after the preseason game against Arizona. They released wide receiver Marquez Callaway and have re-signed a familiar face in wide receiver Shaq Davis. Remember, Shaq Davis was an undrafted free agent for the New Orleans Saints, who they brought in a year ago. It was interesting because they paid, if you remember, he was the big-bodied receiver out of SC State, South Carolina State. And they brought him in and paid him $216,000 guaranteed. And it's a large amount of money for an undrafted free agent. And you typically, if you're going to invest that kind of money in a UDFA, they're going to make your team. Well, Shaq Davis didn't make the team, but they did sign to the practice squad. So he spent all of last year on the Saints practice squad. And then after the season chose to sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. And after spending the offseason in Philly, now Shaq Davis is back with the New Orleans Saints. Maybe one of the disappointing things a year ago is after the Saints did sign him as a UDFA and give him the $216K, the thought was that he would actually contribute a year ago. And then when Michael Thomas got injured, the thought was that might happen even more, was that the door opened for Shaq Davis because after the first two guys, Olave and Shaheed, you needed another guy, and Shaq Davis kind of fits that mold as a big body wide receiver. So 6'5", 215, and now back with the New Orleans Saints. I'm excited about having Shaq Davis back. Look, I liked Marquez Callaway at Tennessee. I was excited when the Saints took him as a UDFA and spent 4 years in New Orleans and played in 85 games, I think, with the Saints, was it? It was... played in 45 games for the Saints over the last 4 seasons before signing with the Steelers. But Shaq Davis is a guy that I'm excited that the Saints have back. I also look at Shaq Davis and think, is that your answer? Like, is that your answer? We all watched this offense score 16 points on Saturday. I get it. Much of the game was with backups. But when your starters win there, that was maybe the most disappointing part, was the offensive ineptitude of your starters offensively. And when I keep looking at this offense and where the deficiencies are on this New Orleans Saints team, it is pretty clear it's not the defensive side of the ball. You're old defensively, but you added Chase Young, you added Willie Gay, you're kicking the tires on Justin Simmons, trying to bring him in at safety. Like, you're fine on the defensive side. I'm not telling you you're great, but you're fine on the defensive side. Where you are objectively not fine is offensively. And when I keep looking at this Saints team, and I think you probably agree, I think everyone would probably agree with me at this point. I don't know that there's actually a conflicting opinion. You're bad on the offensive line and that wide receiver depth. You're bad on the offensive line. You are weak with your receiver depth. And so I'm glad you brought Shaq Davis back, and I think that's a guy who maybe has a nice ceiling that can become a contributing NFL wide receiver. I don't doubt that. I don't know what his ceiling is. And maybe as a number 3 or a number 4. But I can't help but look at what's available, and you have proven wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow is still available. We talked about it last week. Juju Smith-Schuster is now available. I think the Saints should absolutely go make a run at Juju. I don't think that they're going to bring back Michael Thomas, who's still without a team. But you have guys that are proven NFL receivers that have ability and availability as well. And if the Saints really are trying to win now, and it's one thing that we talk about all the time when the Saints are in win now mode, and I've said that for a while because they have been in win now mode. But if you really are in win now mode, why aren't you trying to improve the 2 spots on your roster that are your worst spots, which is offensive line and receiver? I'd be excited, if they were able to add Justin Simmons. By the way, Justin Simmons, if you missed the news, took a visit to the Atlanta Falcons. Ian Rappaport had that news. Took a visit to the Falcons on Monday, which is pretty evident of what's going on there, right? He was a free agent in March. His asking price was way too high. He had no takers. He's lowered his asking price. Now the market heats up. It's actually exactly like the real estate market. You ever sold a home? If you overprice your home, you don't get any offers. You adjust the price accordingly to meet the market. The market heats up. So in any event, I think that's probably what's happened with Justin Simmons. So he's going to have options. And as much as it would stink not to land Justin Simmons, it would suck even more if he ends up in Atlanta. But all that to say, I don't think you need Justin Simmons. I think you're okay at safety. You'd be better with him than with the combination of Jonathan Abram and Jordan Howden. You need offensive line and receiver help. Maybe it's David Bakhtiari on the offensive line. Maybe it's Juju Smith-Schuster at receiver. Those are veteran players. Bakhtiari's old, I get it. But is that a better option than what you have right now with Trevor Penning? I think so. I get it. Bakhtiari's a left. Can he play right? I don't know. But it feels like the Saints are looking for help in the wrong places. All that said, I am excited they got Shaq Davis back. I hope he's a guy that can make this team and maybe make an impact on this team, because I'm not counting on Cedric Wilson and Equanimity St. Brown to actually make it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.